Alex Chemarov here at Movements for Life. For today's restorative segment, we're going to be focusing on how to stretch your lateral hip using a true stretch. Geographically speaking, we're going to be getting into like some TFL, which is the top of the IT band, some glute medius, and then it's going to start kind of getting a little bit more lateral chain by getting into some QL, up the oblique, and even up into the lat. So for us, the TFL really comes into play. We see it during some movement patterns where somebody's doing a same side lateral lunge, and as this leg is going through abduction, there's a pinch that actually happens on the outer hip. So as we know, the load should be on the groin, on the adductor group, but what happens is that pinch happens in that TFL or in that lateral hip when that TFL is kind of too hyperactive and it doesn't passively just kind of collapse on itself as it pinches. So it doesn't, it can't just fold up passively, like I said. So going through doing some soft tissue work in there and then gapping it and putting some load and stretch onto it is a great way to kind of calm that area down so that when going through any type of abduction, you can actually create that load where it needs to go. So that being said, great stretch in a true stretch to be able to go through, and we'll put a little 3D twist to it so that you can mobilize different parts of that lateral hip, getting a little bit more TFL or a little bit more glute med, through depending on what you need. So to position yourself, my feet are going to be positioned in a same side lateral step. So I have my right foot in this case coming across midline, and then I'm going to position my left arm up overhead. So I got the right arm, right leg in front, left leg is back behind me. So you can see that big load and stretch that's going to go through and connect my armpit down to my hip on the left side. And now from here, I want to really position myself so that my right hip is higher than my left. Back leg is nice and straight, heel is down. And now from here, I can just simply start driving my pelvis in the sagittal plane, so forwards and backwards. All right, so that's going to give it a little bit more of like that anterior pull, getting a little bit more anterior hip, getting into even some abdominal wall. But again, the big load and stretch is on the lateral hip, lateral core here, that lateral chain. All right, and then I can drive further into the frontal plane by just allowing my hip to drive out to the left. And then transverse plane is going to have a nice rotary component. And again, all those lateral stretches are going to be hit here. You're going to start kind of dissipating or fanning out that emphasis depending on the plane that you're moving in. All right, so quick little anatomical review. That TFL is that top of the IT band. We call it the pocket muscle for geographical reasons, so it's easy to identify. But once you start getting into that TFL, that top of the IT band, you can start calming down all those structures. It'll definitely create that release. So give this one a whirl. It's super, super effective. Again, just like all the other variations that we've done, you don't need a fancy true stretch to be able to do it. Well, if you do have one, it's great, but that same stretch works really, really well inside of a door jamb, which everybody has. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks so much.